Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all doing absolutely fine. And today, we're gonna continue with an essay by Seneca on the shortness of life. It's gonna be the fourth part, so let's continue. You will see that the most powerful and highly placed men let drop remarks in which they long for leisure, acclaim it, and prefer it to all their blessings. They desire at times, if it could be with safety, to descend from their high pinnacle. For, though nothing from without should assail or shatter, fortune of its very self comes crashing down. The deified Augustus, to whom the gods vouchsafed more than to any other man, did not cease to pray for rest and to seek release from public affairs. All his conversation ever reverted to this subject, his hope of leisure. This was the sweet, even if vain, consolation with which he would gladden his labors, that he would one day live for himself. In a letter addressed to the Senate, in which he had promised that his rest would not be devoid of dignity, nor inconsistent with his former glory, I find these words. But these matters can be shown better by deeds than by promises. Nevertheless, since the joyful reality is still far distant, my desire for that time most earnestly prayed for has led me to forestall some of its delight by the pleasure of words. So desirable a thing did leisure seem that he anticipated it in thought because he could not attain it in reality. He who saw everything dependent upon himself alone, who determined the fortune of individuals and of nations, though thought most happily of that future day on which he should lay aside his greatness. He had discovered how much sweat those blessings that shone throughout all lands drew forth, how many secret worries they concealed. Forced to pit arms first against his countrymen, then against his colleagues, and lastly against his relatives, he shed blood on land and sea. Through Macedonia, Sicily, Egypt, Syria, and Asia, at almost all countries he followed the path of battle, and when his troops were weary of shedding Roman blood, he turned them to foreign wars, while he was pacifying the Alpine regions and subduing the enemies planted in the midst of a peaceful empire, while he was extending his bounds even beyond the Rhine and the Euphrates and the Danube. In Rome itself, these words of Marina, Scipio, Capia, Lepidus, Ignatius, and others were being wedded to slay him. Not yet had he escaped their plots when his daughter and all the noble youths who were bound to her by adultery as by a sacred oath often alarmed his failing ears, and there was Paulus at a second time the need to fear woman in league with an Antony. When he had cut away these ulcers together with the limbs themselves, others would grow in their place, just as in a body that was overburned with blood, there was always a rupture somewhere. And so he longed for leisure, in the hope and thought of which he found relief for his labors. There was the prayer of one who was able to answer the prayers of mankind. Right, guys, we're done for today, and as usual, we're gonna continue tomorrow. Thank you for joining me in this video. See you tomorrow. Bye.